Hey Las Vegas, thank you for joining us again on Realty Check, your local Las Vegas real estate news show. We have a special episode for you guys today. We are doing a memorial. We are putting to rest all the things in real estate that we are likely not going to see next year. We're saying goodbye to some things that went away for good and some things that we're pretty sure have gone away for good or for quite a while. So you're going to love this show. Stay tuned. And if you guys are liking the show, following the show, please take a moment, like, comment, share it with your friends, tell people about this, and let's get started. So we have a return guest this week with us, Tiana Carroll. She was actually here last week. So it has been forever since I've seen you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming back.
Well, thank you for having me.
Tiana, just tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Tiana Carroll. I'm with Keller Williams, the Marketplace One. I'm an agent here in the Valley. I love Las Vegas, and I'm always on the podcast because I love you too.
Yay! And we have Shaun Marion. Shaun Marion's team leader at Keller Williams, the Marketplace One. Shaun, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So actually this year got my 25-year realtor pin.
Wow.
Crazy
Congratulations.
that it's been that long. So that's really all I've known. Been a licensed agent and realtor here in Vegas for that long. Lived in Vegas for over 40 years at this point. Have for the last 4.5 years been the team leader or running the Keller Williams office up in Summerlin. And so always just keeping my toes in the water with knowing a little bit about what's going on out in the market, but making sure that all of our agents are getting everything that they need on a daily basis as well.
Awesome. That's great. And having a team leader in an office that has experience in real estate is really awesome. So congratulations for that. I know you know your stuff, and you had a pretty good referral base for your business.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Still do. It's still there just when you create the right systems and people still know how to get a hold of you. So I know you've done the same thing for yourself. So
yes, actually, I followed you guys in the beginning. When I first started, I was like, I want to be like them when I grow up. So yes, most definitely. Let's start with the current. We always open the show with current inventory and price reductions. What's happening right now in the Vegas real estate market? And even though this is a memorial show, we still want to tell our stats of what's happening right now. So currently, in single-family homes in Las Vegas, we're at $2,271.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy low.
Still a low number. I mean, it doesn't really. It still keeps. We are expecting it to have come up well over 3,000. I think we hit it once or twice, but that number just keeps staying low. And so it's just where we're at. And so when you're out there looking for homes, got to make sure you're working with a good agent to help you find the right property right now. Right.
It's crazy. It's completely unbalanced.
You got to be motivated, aggressive, and ready to rumble.
Yeah,
so,
exactly right.
When we talk about inventory and the things that we're putting behind us, do you think inventory over 4,000 is something that we're probably not going to see in 2022?
Oh, I'm hoping that's exactly what we see in 2022. Well, it'd be nice to get back to a balanced market.
Sure.
You know, that, in my opinion, that benefits everybody.
Yeah.
So.
I just always have this idea that we're going to get back there. I can't imagine being in a real estate market where we will forever be in a seller's market. We'll talk a little bit more down the road about our interest rates adjusting a little bit. That could potentially slow some ability to buy and purchase, which could potentially see some increase in inventory. I think that there's going to be some factors that will get us back up over the 3 and 4, and hopefully even back up to the 6 and 7 and 8,000 home range. People might not understand that that's a normal, but it is. That will be normal to where we have a true balanced market. And I think that there will be some things that will get us there over the next year or so.
Right. And this year, like around August, when we were seeing inventory got up to like 3,500, price reductions were like 500 and 600. People were like, oh no, it's a buyer's market. I was like, no. That's nowhere near a buyer's market. We haven't even stepped in buyer's market range yet. Yeah. So this week we had 106 price reductions, which is nothing. No. Those are probably just people that crazy overpriced, and that, or the homes may not be attractive or stinky or something like that.
Or just simple price adjustments to keep that property top of list.
Most definitely, yeah. And I think even when you only have 2,200 homes on the market, Just the fact is you're not going to see that many price reductions. There's just not a need for it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so
They're moving.
that number's, and until we see the inventory increase, we're probably not going to see that number increase.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into our memorial. Are you guys ready to put some things to rest?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, unfortunately, this is going to make a lot of people very sad. But one of the first things that we have to say goodbye to is low interest rates, because I don't think that we're going to be seeing much of those over 2022 with the Fed's new announcement. What do you guys feel about that?
Listen, I have to agree, and I'm sad because that changes buyer power, and I like everybody to be able to buy. I want big inventory. I want lots of buyers
You want
out
everything.
there. I want it all.
Yeah.
No, I do, but I think it's fair, and everybody deserves that right? So
Well, yeah, I think that the biggest thing that we have to change is the misconception of things, that the fact that our interest rates will probably be in the high 3s, maybe even pushing 4 by the summer. It's just again, buyers have been spoiled for the last few years. Those numbers are ridiculously low interest rates still. Yes, price points are a lot higher than they used to be. Just be aware of it and know what you need to be to have buying moving forward. Know what that rate's going to be. Know what your payment's going to be. So yes, low will go away, but they'll still remain somewhat low, I think. So
Yeah, still, even in the 5s are low when you compare to what rates are historically.
yes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most definitely, but every time when interest rates raise, there's a buyer frenzy.
For sure.
So we're going to have all these buyers who are like, I need to buy now before the next increase.
Yeah.
oh, good, call me.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe that'll also trigger sellers to put their home on the market to be able, because at the same point, if we do see higher interest rates, that does reduce buying power.
That affects sellers.
And that can affect sellers, so that might increase seller activity as well. So there could be a balance within all of this. So it could be actually a good factor for the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next one that we want to say goodbye to, I like to think of them as like the crazy cousin, right? So we had this like crazy cousin that was acting reckless and doing all kinds of crazy things, and we're just like, that's not going to end well. Maybe we need to have an intervention, and we've seen this happening. We've seen this all unfolding. I'm sure most realtors seen it coming, and then it blew up. So we are saying goodbye to Zillow Offers.
We are
And
saying
if- yeah.
goodbye.
Yeah. And if you don't have a crazy cousin, you're the crazy cousin.
Yes.
So that's all. Anyway, just to back on that.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But there, I
Yes.
mean, I don't think many realtors are sad about saying,
No.
Are any realtors sad about this?
I don't think so. I mean, what we've seen, it's, all the stories about what Zillow's done, and it's how it's reverted back to the instability of the Zestimate, even, because they based a lot of their purchasing off of that number. So they've done away with their buying platform. And yes, Zillow, the monster out there, has moved away from this. At the same point, we know there's still iBuyers out there. So there
Yeah.
are still opportunities for that. And for those realtors watching, talk to your clients, make sure you know what they want to do, because they will still be talking to the other companies out there. But I think it's nice to see that Zillow has maybe stepped away from the platform.
Yeah, it's really sad to see them go and have to eat all that crow. That's a shame.
For sure.
That is definitely a
Poor
shame.
Zillow
But
Offers.
they'll be missed. Can we say goodbye to Zestimates? I mean, like that was, I wish.
Well, I don't know that that's going to happen.
They're not going away.
No,
And
they're not.
And they're still ridiculous. We were literally sitting on the couch last night, and my wife said, you know what our Zestimate is? And it's just ridiculously high. So it's just be cautious of those estimates still.
Oh, of course, of course.
All day, every
It's
day.
like those are magical numbers. Sometimes they're really high, sometimes they're low. Every once in a while, they get lucky and they're on target, and you're
For
like,
sure.
"Wow, that was a good one."
Yeah.
But,
What did they do there?
Yeah. How'd that happen?
You
Why did
occasionally
they do
get
it the
lucky.
other ones?
Yeah. So yes, Zillow Offers has gone away, but Zestimates are still here.
Yes,
so
correct.
They are.
Let's put some hopes in for next year.
For sure.
Add that to the wish
Maybe,
list.
yeah, we'll add that to the wish list. Maybe there's something we can do to make those go away too.
Or
That'd
maybe
be great.
Zillow's resolution for the new year will be like, hey, let's be more accurate.
Yeah.
That would be nice,
That would
right?
that
Give
would
it a
be
go,
nice.
Zillow. Try.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. They could just keep on. They've kind of proved themselves right now, so we're
Yeah.
good. Just keep on going at it. High unemployments. We're happy to say goodbye to this because a lot of people are getting back to work right now. All of the shutdowns are pretty much opening back up. We're hoping they stay open. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's all up in the air right now. You know, this new variant going around, so that's not a good thing. But so far, most people are getting back to work, so those unemployment numbers are starting to go down, and the city's back to work.
Yeah, and it's nice, right? I think we need that.
Most definitely. I mean, it's been the beginning of this year, it was just, obviously things starting to open back up, but when you would go into a restaurant, a hotel, anything, any place really, and you'd see lack of people working. I mean, you still see the signs. Saw one at Starbucks yesterday. We're short staffed, so be nice to the ones that showed up.
Right.
So we have to think that mentality, and I think we are seeing more people going back to work. The unemployment side of it, that those extra stimulus checks, I think have waned down. So I think we'll see some good low unemployment numbers, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's really great.
That is great. And of course, as it relates to real estate, some of our buyers couldn't buy
For
because
sure.
they were in this like furlough or whatever the period where they, were just not back to work because the company wasn't fully staffed again.
Yeah.
So now they're getting back to work. They're getting those paychecks. They're being able to go into those purchases now. So that's good.
And
That
not to
is
sound like
exciting.
a broken record, but again, every little thing even affects the sellers. If they weren't selling their home because one of the spouses wasn't working and they didn't know
Absolutely.
where they could go or couldn't move up to that next home, that gives sellers an opportunity to list their home now
Right.
at this point. So we hopefully, again, will continue to see an increase in inventory.
Yep, and if you went back to work in the same field and the same company even that you were at before, even those gaps, a lot of lenders, are just asking for letters and things to
Right.
compensate for that, but they're working
Right.
with you on it because they understand what happened was out of everybody's control.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So another thing, this is double-ended. Some people are saying completely goodbye to work commutes because they're all online and all virtual. Their company was like, this works for us. They don't have to drive to work anymore.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
lower overhead for the company.
Yeah.
Some of them
For
are
sure.
sticking with it.
Yeah, they've downsized their workspace, working with getting people having that full opportunity to work, virtually. It's been a benefit. I know that's benefited a lot of people. I mean, I know there's a lot of stay-at-home parents that it's been, especially going through everything in COVID. It was
Is that really a benefit? No, I'm just kidding.
well, yes and no. I mean, it depends on the individual situation, but
The kids, it depends on the kids.
Exactly right. And at the same point, you're seeing companies moving into smaller space. You're seeing those people that have been able to move, they're moving to Las Vegas, that are still maintaining their jobs in other parts of the country because, again, they have that ability to telecommute and work virtually. So I think that is not going to slow down. I think we're going to continue to see that. I think companies will continue to downsize space if they have that opportunity to do so. So that's going to be more working from home for sure.
Absolutely. And I am so glad to say goodbye to remote learning. Oh my gosh, I'm a realtor, not
Yeah.
a teacher. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Never, ever bring that back again, please.
Yeah.
That was,
I know.
no.
Pray
that
for
was,
our kids.
No.
And that's
Right?
yeah.
that have had to learn that way.
I
We
was
praise
not.
you teachers that have been doing this.
We absolutely do.
But at the
We
same
absolutely do.
point, it's we didn't get our teaching degree. So.
Yes, I was not wired to teach children. No, that did not work well. I was telling my kids, you're on your own. I'm sorry.
But yeah, like we were saying,
Good luck.
Yeah, but you said the flip side of that, we are seeing more people that are their work's going to have them start coming back to work now.
Yes.
So the handful of people that that were working, maybe they still have that opportunity, but I know a lot of companies
Yeah.
will say, all right, time to get your butt back in the office and make sure that they're hitting their numbers or whatever it is they're in their work that they do. So
Yeah, so some people are very, very sad about saying goodbye to
Yes.
the virtual remote working.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, separate home and office, again, double-edged. Some people are saying goodbye completely to having a separate office space and a separate home space. And and those have affected us a lot in this last year. The people that have ditched that and have gone 100% remote working have had to like change their living environment. You know, those
Right.
all-in-one minimalist houses aren't really a good idea anymore.
Sure.
Well, listen, there's something to be said for the TikTok closet home office, right? So it does give you the ability to have that space, but yes, people are now wanting a separate space because it becomes overwhelming, the same space to do everything from. So
Yeah, I think it's an aspect of it is, as realtors, it's very comfortable for us to work from home, and for the longest time, I did, and I saw it as I saw it as a negative, to be very honest with you, just because there wasn't the ability to separate work from home life.
Right.
Work was always right down there at the end of the hall. It was easy to go and work until 11 o'clock at night and get up at 7 in the morning and be right at work and not have that separation. And it's, you know, so the value of being able to go into the office and separate and leave and clock out in a way and go home and not think about work so much, there's a value to that. And I think a lot of people are going to have to learn how to do that if they're going to maintain the at-work telecommuting. So it makes sure that there's that happy balance there.
right, but I think it also gives people the opportunity to create the life that they want, right?
For sure.
Working from home is amazing for some people.
It
They
is,
excel
yeah.
at it. And other people like the office environment. And now we're in a world where both are accessible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly
both are off, and that is I mean, if your job's going back to work and you're like, no, I love this like home working scenario, I'm sure you'll
Right.
find another company out there that's
Sure.
offering it.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, we have a whole new system of how things are right now. So me personally, I hated working from home. I mean, my dog would be barking, like there's all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. I'm like, I just can't focus on
Yeah.
anything. I've
Exactly
been,
right.
you know, I was back at the office when the office was a ghost town and no one was in there. I was still there. So
Yeah.
it's like, working from home did not, it just didn't work out for me. And, you know, it just gives you, for me, it just gave me the like, oh, I could actually like be in my pajamas all day. Like,
For sure, yeah. There's a lot of
So-
aspects to it.
Yeah, and I like working from anywhere. I
Yeah.
can be on a park bench or in a Starbucks or in the office at my house. Like,
Yeah,
I like the variety it gives
Yeah,
me.
well, I see that. I mean, I think that and I feel it's that ability to step away from your home life and work life and not have that. We know as realtors they cross over way too much
All the time.
and you know, having a little bit of separation there brings some value. So again, those telecommuters, those ones that work at home, just, you know, be aware of be aware of it, be aware that you can turn it off. You know, you would turn it off if you left the office and came home. Do the same when you're leaving your at-home office when you're coming into the rest of your evening. So it's a learned skill, to be honest with you.
absolutely.
Life advice from Shaun for
Well, I did.
2022.
Listen, I did. When we moved to Keller Williams, actually, it was the first time I actually had a full office at the office.
Oh, really?
And I never, in all my companies before, because it was expensive to have an office, and you had to pay a lot of money for it, and I just wasn't going to. We had a nice office at home. And the moment I had an office and was able to literally leave at 4 o'clock, 5, even if it was 6 o'clock, whatever, I was able to leave work at work. I mean, and of course, you're still answering your phone and things like that, but I didn't have to go sit at a desk at the end of the hall at home while my kids asking what I'm doing, while dinner's on the table. It was a very nice learned, I had to learn something through that, and it was valuable.
Yeah, I find myself more productive in an office
For sure.
than at home. So yeah, I think the opposite works for me. If I'm at home, I just get distracted.
Yeah.
I'm a squirrel. I'm a squirrel. Yeah, so I get distracted by everything. So yeah, when I am actually working in an office, I seem to focus a little bit better.
Sure.
Buyer love letters. Me and Tiana talked a lot about this last week.
We did.
and buyer love letter. So just if you didn't watch last week and you don't know what I'm talking about, these are not Valentines. They're kind of like Valentines.
No way.
Well, they're definitely advocating for themselves.
Yeah,
Sure.
so buyers writing these, warm and fuzzy, gooey letters to the sellers about how much they love the home and how much they want the home and all of these good things, which has always been, it's been like putting an emotional layer onto the real estate transaction, which, it has worked very well in the past.
Yeah, we've benefited from it
Oh, yeah.
before.
Yeah. However, with all of these, things, big changes going on and like all across the world of all types of situations, one of the things that has come about is buyer love letters could be discriminatory or open up yourself to liability, discrimination on certain levels. So a lot of states are saying goodbye to it. Oregon is outlawing it
Yeah.
Right.
come January, and I'm sure that we got a message from our board of realtors that they are advising us against it. So I'm sure that is something that we're going to be saying goodbye to. It's going to make a little bit of change in real estate.
Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, it was always a big part of my business. I mean, again, it depends on the type of real estate market you're in. When you're up against a multiple offer scenario, which for a lot of realtors that have been in the business for just the last few years, that's all you've known. You haven't not been up against multiple offers. But so you used it before. It was just one of those things you pulled out every now and then.
Yeah.
It's because you needed it, because it was a popular home that you knew was going to have a few offers on it. So you wanted that emotional attachment between the buyer and the seller, because rarely would they ever meet. Rarely would they have a conversation. So this gave the buyer an ability to have a conversation with the seller. And so it's and the sad thing is that so few realtors utilize them that it's kind of sucks to see it go away.
Yeah.
Because it's not benefiting those that don't use it, or maybe, well, actually it would be benefiting those agents that don't utilize the tactic. And I
Right.
say that tactic in a nice way. It's just because as a realtor, our job is to give our buyers any possible leg up.
Yeah.
And so, and we'll just learn how to be better agents and learn how to make sure we have great relationships with the agents on the other side of our transactions to get those offers accepted.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is going to be sad because it does take the emotion and humanity out of it. But when you do take that, you get the ability now to be very transactional. And
Sure.
there's no discriminatory practices, and that's what we're trying to avoid, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, and the last time I used it, it actually wasn't even me that encouraged it. My buyer wrote the letter.
Yeah.
They
Oh, yeah.
they said they wrote it. They said, they didn't even say, Shaun, should we? They're like, here, and it had a photo of them and their kids and their dog, and they wrote it, and because they wanted that connection with the buyer, with the seller.
That is something that we're putting behind us, and we're probably not going to see so much of in.
Well, we're seeing all the so many different changes in the way that we're just in a different world now. We're in a more obviously continuously litigious society,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it's just everything has everything has a little bit of something attached to it that people want to see go away. So
Absolutely.
that's what we deal with.
So another thing, we are probably going to be very mournful about this one, but we're pretty much basically saying goodbye to single family homes under 300,000.
Yeah.
You find one every now and then.
Our average sales price in our office last month was $475,000.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's and that's doing quite a few transactions. So it's running the gamut of price points, and so we're going to see that we're going to continue to see. The people that are waiting for that market crash. If that was one of our topics.
That is. We're going to talk about that
but
later. Don't
basically
worry.
this will tie into that.
Yeah.
So it's don't wait around for it, because we're not going to see those price points drop.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. Even with interest rates increasing, sorry, it's going to affect some buyers' buying power, but that's not going to make a seller reduce their price.
Right.
Because there'll be a buyer right behind it that will come in and pay that price.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I think as well, like with the, with the rates increasing, I don't think that's going to cause, so I've heard people say, it's going to cause a market crash. No, it's
No.
going to maybe cause a slowdown.
Sure.
It's going
Maybe.
to eliminate some of the buyers, but we're so plentiful right now on buyers that
Yeah.
we have, plenty of time to, or plenty of buyers out there to work it out. It's not going to cause anything to crash. It's just going to cause things to not go so quickly.
Well, it is those are the conversations. It's going back. I tell a lot of our agents that we're going to get back to where the first time home buyer is going to be buying condos and townhouses. That was, when I started back in the day, that's what I sold my friends, that people were buying their first homes. I sold them 2-bedroom condos. I sold them a 2 or 3 bedroom townhouse. And that was that first level, that first entry level into owning real estate and creating wealth for themselves. And it's gotten almost a stigma to it where a condo is a rental, unless it's a high rise, then it's fancy. But a condo is a rental property, or that's beneath me. I want a single family home. And so as agents, we have to get better at educating our clients that, look, you got to start somewhere. So here's where you got to get. You want to buy that single family home, buy a condo now, and as we're seeing financing become much more readily available, townhouses are still a strong opportunity. So
Yes, they are.
just have to have those conversations for sure.
Absolutely, because now condos and townhouses are in the 300s. So
Yeah, exactly.
we're
The
seeing
thing is still nice condos crazy. They're up in the twos, in the 220, 250, 260 range, but that's still a nice condo and a nice community and a nice home, and and they're going up in price too. So
I had a 1-bedroom condo in Summerlin recently sell $250.
yeah,
But it's
for sure.
Summerlin, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Pay to play.
Pay to play. That's the prices. So there are a lot of people that are saying goodbye to California taxes because they're coming here.
They are.
And they're coming, they're coming everywhere. So I talked to realtors in lots of different states and they're like, no, they're coming here, they're coming everywhere. They're spreading everywhere but California. So they're ditching those taxes. And
yeah, they're definitely doing that. They're both Florida and Arizona, I think actually were ahead of us in terms of in-migration this past year. But yeah, not only property taxes, but income taxes and everything else. So
Right, it's stacking up, and now they've got the freedom to go places and do things, and they're like, we're out.
yeah,
we're out of here. And it's because they're able to work remotely. And in many cases, that's what's driving that. I'm wondering what's going to happen if their employers say, hey, you got to come back to work. Are they all going to leave?
I think that it really depends on the strength of the job. It has to be something that makes them want to stay or have to stay. If there's so many opportunities arising here in Vegas, and so many, we're not just the casino industry anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It is so diverse. So many people are taking their companies and moving them here. So they're not even having to answer to a business owner because they're the business owner and they're moving it here for those benefits. So we're going to continue to see that. And I think there's people that are taking early retirements to move out because it makes financial sense. There's a lot of opportunities inside of it. So it's just, they're saying bye to all that stuff. We all love going to California.
Hey,
yeah. Let's go visit the beach.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we
It's
go
fun
there.
little
We're like,
weekend.
man, we could live here. And then you just think about everything, and that it's like, no.
Yeah, just remember how that happened. Don't bring that tax stuff here.
Yeah.
We don't want
Yeah,
it. We don't want it.
exactly
No,
right.
please.
Right.
Yeah, let's not follow suit on that. We are saying goodbye finally to the rental moratorium. Yeah. So that is, it's definitely not a good thing on all levels. For some people, that's creating some issues for them in their home, and they've, their landlords are actually telling them they have to go now, and that's definitely sad. And on some levels, that rental moratorium is part of what drove up rent prices and made it almost impossible to get into a rental right now unless you're qualified to buy a home, and at that point, why would you get a rental? But so that's one thing we're saying goodbye to.
Yeah, and it served its purpose, and
It did.
it helped.
It helped.
And some people were in a position when it ended, and some people had a harder time.
Yeah.
Right, but
Well, it's tough because not all the investors that own rental properties are, are industrial investors.
Right.
They're mom and pops that own 1 and 2 rental properties, and it made it tough.
Oh, yeah.
It really did, and so again, things come and go, and it's something that has to go. We want to be sympathetic and empathetic to those that were being affected by COVID during this time, and that was their rental property. And it's like people weren't wanting to be empathetic to the homeowner that was not able to pay their mortgage,
right?
Or not able, or having to dip into savings to pay their mortgage or whatever it was, and it was definitely a tough period in time. So
absolutely,
I think it's good that that's going away, and it is what it is. Like you said, it's driven up rentals to ridiculous price points. And it's scared people from renting again, for being owners, or I'm sorry, from owners renting their properties out. They've said, I'm done, I'm out, and they've sold their home. So fewer rentals out there in this
rental
market
inventory
as well.
shortage.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's driven a lot of things.
Yeah, and criteria. I mean, gosh, you have to have a 620, 650 to get into a rental, and it's just the whole thing that I'm like, what happens to the people that don't have those scores? Like that, it's changed things a lot. It served its purpose while it was here. It was helpful, but just the economy basics. You can't live for free anywhere. Nothing is free. It's a cost to someone, somewhere, somehow.
Well, yeah, you're seeing rentals with multiple offers, obviously multiple applications, but then offering higher rent prices, to get the property.
Or huge deposits.
Huge
paying months
That
up
was
front.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you have 12 grand to put on a deposit for a rental, you could buy a house,
Yes,
right?
I knew somebody just put down a $15,000 deposit on a rental, and I was like, what? Why are you not purchasing a home? You have the credit score. This is insane. And he's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to stay here for long. And I'm like, who cares? The value's doing good. The market's doing really good. That rental's not going to serve you much purpose in the end. But
no, but that'll definitely be. I think it's one of those things that has to go. And it's just good that it's finally out the door.
Yeah, and forbearance, we are saying goodbye to that. Forbearance there's still a little trickling of it around, but it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
And that is, again, served a purpose while it was here. The backlash of forbearance, because there's definitely a negative side to everything, is what I've been seeing a lot of is sellers that were in forbearance that didn't really realize that, those payments didn't disappear.
Nope.
They went somewhere.
Yep.
So now they're selling their homes, and they were in forbearance for the past year. And now they have this crazy amount on their principal that they did not expect. And, the way interest snowballs and all of that good stuff, the amount's a lot higher than the amount of payments they missed. So that is the good thing about it is so far I haven't seen anybody, good thing, blessed, thank you, have not seen anybody in a hardship where the numbers won't work out, where they would then have to short sell. Everybody has equity.
Sure.
That's great, but they're getting a big chunk of that return that less than what they had expected.
Yeah.
Right. That happened to a few sellers that I've been working with, and they just are not in a position to make the kind of money that they want. They thought they would in a seller's market, but the forbearance was their Achilles tendon. So
yeah, and it's again, like you said, served its purpose and it was valuable. That was a couple of things. It was that's what people thought was going to drive the crash because they thought it was going to drive foreclosures.
Yeah.
And again, the fact is people have equity in their homes. There's just so few people that don't have the equity in their homes to be able to sell and cover it and put money in their pocket. The other side of it is people in forbearance that when they sell, if they can close and pay off that back, it hasn't affected their credit negatively.
Yeah.
It hasn't. They actually, if they're going in and buying a Fannie or Freddie backed mortgage conventionally, they qualify.
Yeah.
And they can sell their home they have not made a payment on the last year and buy a new property.
Yeah, and that's almost unheard of.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of people. Our forbearance numbers are so far down now. And at the same point, again, as realtors, having those conversations with sellers and homeowners and finding out, hey, did you take on the forbearance?
Yeah.
Because you can still sell, clear that out. Because some banks will tack it back on, but some banks will call it due, when you come out of forbearance. They'll want that money then, and that's selling right then and there, obviously. So there's different opportunities, but it's, again, just more reasons to have conversations with your clients and know where they're at and making sure that they feel comfortable speaking to you about it.
Right. I had a couple instances where the clients thought like, oh, I never have to bring that up to the realtor. Then we get the payoff and they're like, those numbers aren't what I expected. And I'm like, are we missing something? You never mentioned this to me. That's kind of a big factor.
That happened to me, and it was, I didn't find out until we were literally in a mortgage purchase on the next property. Their home was, and he just didn't tell me.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where we have to ask a few more questions.
Ask a few more questions and be okay to tell your realtors we're not going to like penalize you for anything. We just need to know all the facts.
We're here to help you. We want to navigate with you, let you know what your options
are. Like I said, it
are.
doesn't show up on credit, so a mortgage company is not going to see it. They're not going to see it until they pull the payoff demand for the mortgage.
Right.
So there's a lot of little factors in there, so help us out.
Yeah, help us out. We don't like surprises.
Yeah, no surprises.
Oh my goodness. And with that, I think we're pretty much, I mean, we're not going to ever say goodbye completely to foreclosures, but like a foreclosure market that everybody thought, I've had, a few weeks ago, someone called me and they say, hey, send me a list of foreclosures. And I was like,
See, now that's what I'd like to say goodbye to.
Yeah. Send me a list of foreclosures.
Yes, the calls. I would
for it.
prefer people not call and say, hey, I want the best deal that nobody else in town will know about. It's a secret.
Yeah. So
you got a
it's
list
like
of foreclosures.
Yeah, you send them the list of homes, based all their criteria, everything's there. I never eliminate foreclosures from that list unless they tell me to.
No.
So you send them the list and then they're like, all these homes don't look like they're a good price. I'm okay with the fixer-upper. Send me a foreclosure. And I'm like, but the foreclosure, if there was one, it'd be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, last I looked a few weeks ago, someone wanted just a list of foreclosures. No price limits, nothing. There were 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's, that's
Such
not happening.
Small percentage. It's
not happening.
I still have the list of notices of default, notices of sales emailed to me every day. And they're like at the most, there'll be 10, and that's a note. And so maybe someone stopped making their payments and they still have equity. So they'll still sell their home more than likely before it gets foreclosed on. And if it does, it's probably a strategic foreclosure of some sorts that the seller knew that that's what they were going to do for whatever reason. But yeah, I think that it's just not going to be part of this real estate market anytime soon.
Yeah, unless they've been living in a cave, I think every homeowner pretty much knows they have equity by now. It's everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And if it's not, if they don't watch the news, social media, anything, they get the phone calls from those people that are calling like, I'll buy cash.
Yes.
And you get that. Do you get those clients that are like, hey, they want to buy my house really bad. They I don't know what it is about this house, but they're in love with it. And I'm like, no, they're in love with any house that anybody will say yes to. They don't even know what your house looks like. I promise you.
Exactly.
It's not. Yeah, those are random cold calls. Can we say goodbye to them?
Yes. Let's add those to the wish list.
Please go away.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah, but there's regulation, and they're exempt. How does this work? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I can't cold call people if they tell me not to call anymore. But these people call me 20 times a day, along with auto warranty and my health insurance or whatever. Stop calling me.
Yeah. Phone calls are
unless you're calling for real estate, then keep calling.
Yeah, or the fake IRS. Those are fun. So let's say goodbye to the hopes of a market crash. I don't think we're seeing this in 2022. 2021, people were hopeful all through the year.
Even 2020.
Yeah. Oh gosh, 2020.
They were like,
I was believing it for 2 weeks in 2020. I was like, it's going to happen. Oh my gosh, it's here. No, it didn't happen. So
no.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't see it. It's just not going to
I
happen.
don't see it. I still see a lot of investors in the market. I still see a lot of deals happening. We're so unbalanced right now. I think that we'd have to get balanced to even consider a dip.
Well, for sure. And I think what happened was the market crash that happened in 08, 09. The fact is that happened in the world, in the land of social media, where if there were any when you had previous market crashes, going back to the early mid 80s, things like that. There was, all you had was your 3 news outlets. That was it. So
Yeah.
it wasn't it was stories, but you didn't have the conspiracy theories around it. So now everybody is just waiting. They think because everybody knows real estate is now on the tip of everybody's tongue. It's on the top of everybody's mind, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
And so everybody has an opinion and everybody has a conspiracy theory and everybody thinks this is what's going to happen because they lived through it before. You have to allow the real estate market to do what it's going to do. You can't, good luck predicting it.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. And right now there are no signals, there are no signs that will show that this market is going to crash in any way.
Absolutely. And the thing is too with that, if the market did crash, like just say like something crazy happened, the market crashes tomorrow.
I mean, like a pandemic or
yeah, that
define
didn't-
crazy.
Yeah.
Define crazy.
Something crazier. Oh my gosh, what would it take? I don't know.
The
but-
ocean on fire.
That's alien invasion. Yeah.
Yeah, alien
Clarify for us,
invasion.
please.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it would be.
Okay.
If that did, there are so many people on the sidelines waiting for this crash.
Yeah.
Prepared. They got the money. They're ready to jump on it. It's not going to really crash because those people are going to get boosted right back up. It's
Sure.
not.
Well,
It's not
people
going to
people
crash.
have equity, and they have that's what they didn't have before. They had no equity. They had a mortgage that had a payment on it that was ridiculous because of the way their mortgage was.
Their
created.
second mortgages,
Yeah, their
payments,
first
yeah.
and seconds. They were balloon. All these adjustable rates, and just none of that is a factor
Those are all bad
these
words.
days. I know they are. Well, they're still out there, but they're
Yeah.
done strategically these days, where people still have equity in their properties and everything else. So I'm not trying to be blind to possibilities.
It could happen. Anything
At
could
the same
happen.
point, there's just there's just no indicators. There's nobody out there saying, there's no financial indicators that could really create that at this point. So just stop waiting.
Yeah.
Stop,
Yeah. Yeah.
stop waiting for it.
Yeah, most definitely. So another thing that we are saying goodbye to, this is kind of in the real estate realm, but 90-hour pre-licensing. They figured that we need more than 90 hours training apparently to become realtors.
Look, good thing, bad thing. I don't, it all took us 90 hours to
Right?
get our licenses.
To get our license. That
Yeah.
Let's just be honest though, that didn't train us, right?
No.
I
No,
learned nothing that I really needed to apply in the field in licensing, in pre-licensing school, except for I learned how to stay out of trouble. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it had its benefits. It got us here. I've definitely seen the value in the CE and the post-licensing versus real estate school. That's really where you get your knowledge, and nothing's better than real-world experience. But I do like that they upped the education across the board for real estate. You know, it's a big investment. You're here on an advisory level to help people, and you should be well-versed in this subject, right?
Yeah, well, we take on a very big deal of things from our clients.
Sure.
I mean, we take on a big deal of responsibility. We're dealing with the biggest purchase in most people's lives. So when you really look at the grand scheme of things, 90 hours doesn't seem like much, and even 120, which it is now, still isn't much.
I just don't see
Oh,
it.
I don't see
I don't
that.
see it being a hurdle of any kind.
No.
It's just they wanted to increase it, and they've increased our continuing education.
Yes.
They think we need a handful more out. And again, fair enough. I feel that there's not enough companies out there educating their agents to the level that others do.
Yeah.
So we must rely on making sure that they're getting their education somewhere.
Exactly.
Yes. We're up to, we said goodbye to 24-hour continuing education for
Yes.
licensed realtors. We're up to 36 now.
36 every 2 years. So,
Yes.
which really isn't that much. We just are procrastinating.
They've
That's all there
added
is
risk
to it.
management
Yes.
to it, but I'm wondering when we're going to get to like emotional counselor.
We should.
We should get those CE credits so we
Right.
can help our clients navigate their emotions during these purchases and sales.
Oh
Right?
my gosh, I have seen some people lose their heads where I'm like, do I know this person? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
But yes, real estate is extremely emotional.
It is.
So that is one thing that I learned early on the hard way. Yeah. So Keller Williams made a huge announcement about a month ago, and we are now saying goodbye to paying for real estate school.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is not really it's not mandatory anymore because
not.
we have it's Kaplan.
We Keller Williams on a national level partnered with Kaplan, which is a national educator. They've had a real estate school in all 50 states for years. And so Keller Williams, actually the reason this was created was to create more diversity inside of our industry. We wanted to have one less hurdle and barrier for entry into this industry, because we do feel that this is an amazing industry. We talk about we want fewer people selling real estate, and the fact is it's not going to stop. So let's facilitate.
Yeah.
So we've partnered with it, and if a real estate office is participating in the program, as our offices are, then yes, basically anybody has access to free real estate school.
Yes.
Literally no cost. And
Which is amazing.
And
it
they even
is.
send their books. I was shocked
Not
about
only
that.
do you get a PDF of all
Yeah.
the materials, you get a full box of the materials, you get study guides, you get test prep, you get everything to ready you for the exam, and it's just that one less hurdle. Look, it doesn't mean that real estate is free to get into.
No.
You're still going to have a couple of few thousand dollars in expenses, but it's just that one less hurdle to get moving forward. And so, yeah, anybody here can sign up anybody through what we call K-Score, Keller Williams School of Real Estate, in all 50 states.
Yes.
And so so reach out to your nearest Keller Williams agent. Our office has over 330 people registered at this time.
Yes,
and it's been around for, not like you said, just about a month.
Just
So,
about a month.
Right.
It's very recent. And yes, if any of you guys are thinking of a career change, you want to
Yeah.
get into real estate, you can contact any of us and we
Yeah.
can get you
certainly
signed
can.
up and
sure.
started. So yeah, that's amazing. That's a good
That's
thing
amazing.
to say
I'm
goodbye
actually
to.
going through the program and getting licensed in other states
There
just
you
so
go.
I can
Oh.
have
Yeah.
firsthand knowledge on what it's like.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah, we
people-
got a lot of agents that are doing that. They're
Oh, wow.
coming to us and saying, "I'd like to get licensed here. Let's do it."
Wow.
So a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity inside of that as well.
Yeah, there's a system Keller Williams has worked out to where you can hold your license in other states, and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
our company has everything. You
It
got
sure
problems,
does.
we got
It
you
is.
covered.
And
It's
keeps
a good
adding.
one.
Yeah, and they
It's
keep
a
on
good one.
adding. It is a goodie bag of everything.
For sure.
So it's not specifically real estate related, but come on now, realtors, we're feeling this. We have to say goodbye to low gas prices. Yeah, I mean, I ditched that a little while ago, but
Yeah.
You did, but I didn't. I spent a lot of time driving
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
filling up.
yeah, unfortunately, part of our job requires us to drive all around town.
All around.
I have been guilty of putting 120 to 140 miles in a single day
Sure.
in town, just working. So it is
Easy.
Yeah.
easy.
Every week.
And we'll
Yeah.
see where it goes. I remember 10 years ago, there was another time where gas prices were for quite a while at $4+
yeah.
dollars. And so again, like everything, it fluctuates. And so, but it is frustrating.
It is frustrating.
It's tough when it was down to, in the low $2 or below $2 for a while.
Yeah.
And now it's up, but
The good old days.
Keep that Costco card for those of us that don't own Teslas. Keep that Costco card because it saves money.
Yeah,
It does. I love Costco and Sam's gas prices.
Gotta have, yeah.
for sure. So rest in peace for now, low gas prices. So another thing that we are saying goodbye to, it's a big announcement by a lot of the big real estate websites, Redfin, Trulia, Zillow, actually Zillow and Redfin had already removed them. Realtor.com said they're removing them, but crime data is going away. They no longer want to post it on these real estate websites.
Sure.
And so for people that don't know what crime data is, that's basically where it has a link that tells you like the crime in the neighborhood. So that's something that has to be buyer's due diligence. Your realtor cannot advise you on that. Please don't ask us to, because we are not allowed to. It is something that somebody has to do their own research. And it's basically because when it comes down to crime and things like that, I mean, everywhere has crime.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
everywhere.
Right, no matter
Okay,
what.
move me into a neighborhood with no crime. Sure, when you find it, tell me too.
Right.
Like there's no such thing.
Hopefully it's a $150,000 4-bedroom in Summerlin with a pool.
Yes.
That's probably where it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's where there's no crime.
That's the house that has no crime. Yeah.
Right,
That's where the
right,
house is.
because
Yeah.
that is the unicorn that isn't real.
Yeah, exactly. So
Just go to your local law enforcement websites and do your research anyway. If you're going to rely on random third-party sites that, what's the point?
Yeah.
You got to do your homework. Be comfortable, like you said, be knowing that there's going to be crime everywhere. You can live in the greatest neighborhoods ever. It doesn't make any difference. People will find a way. They're going to attack those as well. So it just be diligent, and that's all you can do.
Right.
And if they're not attacking your house, they're going to steal your information on cyber somewhere. Right? There's
The optimism, Trish.
Yes.
They're not being attacked and
Yeah.
violated in person, definitely online.
Virtually,
That's how
they'll
this
get you.
You're
Yeah.
not exempt. I'm sorry. Everybody is going to be a victim of crime.
Yeah.
Just deal with it.
Yeah, but even using the crime data on these sites, I never thought was beneficial. I always
Yeah.
advise my buyers, drive there at night, go
Yeah.
to the grocery store, eat in the
Exactly.
neighborhood. This is where you're
Go
going to
talk
be.
to the neighbors
Right,
if
talk
you
to the
want,
neighbors.
yeah.
You're moving in. Start to make yourself feel like, hey, if I came home every day, what would this look like for me?
Right.
And then you'll know.
And it's so specific. Like, I mean, some people would be like, oh, this is a horrible neighborhood because my neighbor has a dog. And some people are like, I love that dog. What a great neighborhood. The neighbor has a dog. Like it's so,
Right.
it's so specific to the person. You have to do your own due diligence and your own research when it comes
And
down
the
to it.
information is out there. So you can
Yeah.
look up if you want to know the numbers for crime and what kind of things are happening in that neighborhood. Is it, teenagers breaking into cars or are there shootings?
Yeah.
You have to do your research and figure out what you're comfortable with and what your standards are, period. And that's for anything when it comes to the home buying process.
Yeah, and then even like in neighborhoods that like don't have, they don't have like a lot of big activities or whatever. You always got that one random person like kills this whole family, right?
The optimism.
It happens.
So we're going to put Trish's optimism to rest
we'll
this
put
year.
those to rest as well. How about that?
Yeah, I mean it happens, right?
Hey,
You
it
watch
does.
the news, it happens. There's craziness, and it's like the neighbors are like, "Wow, you're such
But
a
going
great
back
guy."
to the crazy uncle.
Yeah, it's crazy uncle. He was such a great guy. We all thought he was great, and then he does this. So you can't predict it. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
You can look up
Love
all the
it.
crime data in the world. It's not happening. Sentri lock key cards. So a lot of the public's not going to know what this even means, but
No.
No, they don't care.
Most agents don't even know. So that's okay.
so to fill you in, we have these little they look like credit cards that open lock boxes, but like our phones could do it. We could do it on our phones with like Face ID on our little
Hey, they
realtor
started
apps.
the art though. They had the chip before your
They
debit
did.
card had the
That's
chip.
true.
They were.
Yeah.
They were ahead of things, yeah. So they took those cards away from us. I assume they never said a reason why, but I think maybe some people were sharing them and doing things they weren't supposed to do with them. Hopefully they weren't giving them to their clients, but that would have been reckless. But who
Yeah.
knows? But we don't even have the access anymore.
Don't even
so
have it anymore.
No.
So bye-bye.
Those went away, and I couldn't find
Now
mine.
it's a
They
digital
were
format.
yeah,
Which is crazy because I actually used to use the card occasionally, especially like in Anthem when it was
Oh, yeah.
first going up and you couldn't get
Get a
service.
Bluetooth service?
I used it at Mount Charleston once.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
showing
right.
cabins up there with no and I couldn't access the Bluetooth on my lock.
Exactly.
But the card worked, so it was
Right.
one of those things.
Yeah, that was its benefit. Unfortunately, every time that I needed it, I didn't have it with me and had no clue where it was at. So that never worked out for me, and I'd have to call their customer service number and go through that whole
no,
thing.
I carried the card with me in
Did
my
you?
wallet like a credit card. The only thing was you had to plug it in and charge it each day.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
update it.
Or you
for
could
that.
make a phone call to
Right,
but it was
but
only
that's
up
always
to,
what I did for
and
the
it was,
day.
And it was only up to a certain amount of times, and then you had to plug it in. Oh,
Yeah,
we're,
yeah.
we're going off on a tangent. But
Yeah.
That nobody knows about.
And
Everybody's
no one
like,
was
what are they
what's they
talking about?
Yeah.
Most people didn't even know where their cards were. Our
I got my
association.
$100 back.
Did you? Yeah, they
I
offered us a
did
credit.
not.
I was so mad. I tore my house apart. Was like, where did I put that thing? I
No,
don't
for
know.
years I knew exactly where it was, and then I ended up moving, and now I'm just like, never gonna find it.
Yeah, that was an expensive $100 card that I will probably find 5 years from now.
Probably.
So
Memorabilia.
Yes.
Memorabilia. Yes, I'll frame it.
Much like the area codes.
Areas, that's our next one. We had to say goodbye this year to MLS Areas. So Tiana and I mean, I've been in 7 years. Tiana, you've been in how many years?
5.
5 years.
6,
So
I don't know, just right after you.
Right. So like I never used this whole areas thing. It was like a section of our MLS, had a whole bunch of numbers. Every once in a while someone would call me and be like, I want area 803. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, okay,
That's like
let
Sandy
me.
Valley. So
Okay, well maybe I just
See,
throwing
I
a
know.
number out there. See, I had no clue.
I thought you were BSing, but you know.
Yeah.
I do. I'm
So-
telling you.
Yeah,
we're
I'm a
605.
Vegas girl, so I'm
605
like,
was
301.
Henderson. 301
202.
was out. That's Central Vegas.
that is crazy.
I know where they all are.
Yeah, I had
It's
no idea.
funny.
I never used them, but some realtors
Well,
that have been around for a while.
The city
Yeah.
was broken up into these and they were the most weirded cut out sections, but it was just what we searched by. So it's funny, they went away, and so now we just draw out those same sections in a map.
Right. Well, yeah, they were basically so we could search specific
Areas
areas.
of town,
And then
yeah.
when they moved to the matrix system, it gave the custom map thing. And those, especially for new agents, made the area codes obsolete because
Yeah.
now you could just draw a custom area and search that or a zip code or overlapping
Which is
zip
more
codes.
efficient, because if you were looking at an area that overlapped and you put two MLS areas, you would get spots that you didn't want anyway. So it definitely is for the best. It's
Yeah.
just- there's some old school aspects to it that
Yeah, and there were
reminisce-
some.
Nostalgic.
a little nostalgic for it. Hey, it's all
Yeah,
good.
and there were some old school realtors that were outraged. Like
Yeah,
there
that
were
was a
some
little-
people that were really, really upset
Yeah,
that they
well.
took this away, and we had a countdown on our MLS login.
Forever.
it was a big
It was
deal.
like for 6 or 8 months or
I
something.
know.
crazy. I'm like, oh my god.
Like for
I
the
was
next 2 years, be advised,
Yeah.
we're not doing this
Be
again.
ready. Learn how to use the map function.
Yes,
Please.
I
That's
was
so
like,
funny.
when is this countdown going away? Why
And they
is it
made you
still
look
there?
at it for like
day,
every time you
have
logged
to
in.
acknowledge it.
And
Okay, I know.
acknowledge. Yes, I know this is happening. So, yeah, sorry, it says a lot about us, right?
Can we just edit
You know,
this
where's our
part?
life? Yeah.
So this is our final goodbye, is a FHA loan limits. They used to be 364 and they're now 420. So those got raised. So we are saying goodbye to the 364 loan limits, and we're saying goodbye to the 548 conventional loan limits
Yeah.
because those got boosted up to 647.
It's huge.
So
Yeah.
what does this mean? Buyers have more buying power.
Most definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not sad to see that go.
No, that's
I feel
a-
good to put
yeah.
that one to rest. Like, okay,
sure.
now let's give our buyers more buying power.
Well, yeah, I mean, a buyer can buy a conventional loan. I mean, you can buy down to 3% with a pretty average credit score. So you can buy a $640,000 house with little less than $20,000 down.
That's pretty awesome.
and
awesome.
have market interest rates and everything else, and so the buying power is huge, and
Yeah.
so that really does give a lot of opportunity because look, that's where our prices are going, so we needed that flexibility for sure.
Well, absolutely.
And if
Having
and if we can get sellers to accept FHA offers, there's benefits on that side too. So
Yep.
Yeah, well, having loan limits that were below what like the average prices were going for
was a
was
struggle, yeah.
but definitely a struggle.
Yeah. There were some creative things that we were doing to try and help people who were having those limits to try and get into homes.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to have that flexibility. So maybe we help more people.
most definitely,
More
I agree.
people,
Yeah.
more buyers, more opportunity for everybody.
For sure.
So before we wrap up, just quick, what's a wish list of what like you would hope, like your top thing you wish we were putting to rest, but we're probably not going to see that.
Well, if I hadn't made completely clear, I'm waiting for that balanced market. I wish that would come on in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
Being able to negotiate again for a buyer would be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Most definitely. I mean, that's if there's a big part of it that's hard. I mean, running a real estate office, the focus is how do I get all of our agents into production and getting them out there working, and it's not easy. I mean, this business has never been easy, and it's even that much more of a struggle now when there's that many fewer homes. So yes, that's if we could definitely see sellers, find a time to sell. It's time to sell. If you've been hanging on to your house for a while, maybe it's time to sell. Maybe it's time to move on. Just to see a little bit more inventory. but look, it's been a great real estate market, and really people shouldn't be complaining either. So just keep positive thoughts going about the real estate market, and don't focus on the negative so much. That'd be the focus, I would say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I had my wish list, I would wish that Zillow would wake up one day and decide to get into insurance. Real estate's not for me anymore. I'm shutting it down.
I had a good run. I made some mistakes. I'm just going to refocus my attention to insurance.
Yeah, sure.
That would be awesome.
That'll probably happen.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure we'd all love to see whatever version of this pandemic we're in go away.
Oh gosh,
so
please, let's say goodbye to COVID.
Just to make our life, all of our lives easier. So
That would. Navigating real estate with COVID has been, fun. So we are definitely put to the fire, right? Can you handle it?
Yeah.
Exactly right.
What an amazing learning opportunity this entire experience has been.
Yeah.
No,
So-
most definitely. And the people that have come through it the other side are the ones that are really making things happen in this industry. So it's been awesome to watch that side of it too.
Absolutely. Only the strong survive. We're going to have a good year in 2022.
All
Great year.
Good
be
year.
amazing.
So let's look forward to it. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the show today. And this was fun. This was good.
This is great.
Putting
Thanks
all
for
this
having us.
2021 behind us. Happy New Year's to everybody out there.
Yeah.
Be safe. Get an Uber.
There you go.
Get an Uber unless you're going to your living room. That's happening for some people like me. If anybody wants to reach out to you guys to sign up for real estate school, to talk about a new career, to talk about real estate, to buy their home, if that's in their New Year's resolution, how do they reach you guys? Tiana, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, you can always reach me by my phone or text at 702-379-9948, or my email is 702househunter@gmail.com.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you're interested in what real estate has to offer for you, maybe you're even at another real estate brokerage and maybe looking to get a little bit of a taste of all these awesome tools that Keller Williams has to offer, I'd love the opportunity to speak with you. Reach out to me directly, 702-592-4485. That number's been the same for about 30 years. So,
Wow.
so
Before
that
cell phones.
no, that's about when I got my first one.
landline.
Crazily
It's
is
a
about when I
landline.
got my first one. And then lvmarion@gmail.com is always an email you can reach me at too. So reach on out.
Was your first cell phone like a brick?
No, it wasn't that crazy. It was a little Sony one. It was kind of cool. It was.
Don't lie, you
It was
had the
when they started.
briefcase.
I'm not that crazy. It hasn't been 40 years.
You said 30 years.
It has. Okay. So it's been like 27-ish or something.
Oh, okay.
Like that, so.
All right.
But it wasn't quite the brick.
You
Believe it or
weren't
not.
walking around with the brick and the beeper?
No, I did have the beeper. I had the beeper before I had the cell phone. So yeah, did have the beeper.
All right. Well, if you guys need to get a hold of me, Trish Williams, trishwilliams@kw.com. It's really easy, 702-308-2878. I answer my phone. I'm happy to answer questions. Look forward to talking to you guys. Let's get some real estate New Year's resolutions going. Let's work out a plan. Let's talk about what your plans are for 2022 and work through them. So look forward to seeing you guys. Please like, comment, share, tell your friends, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.